Hi, I'm Genevieve Priest, Location 3's Marketing Manager. Welcome to our third installment of our series Moving Forward in 2021. We're interviewing franchise brands to see how they're adapting to the current environment given the pandemic. Today, we're speaking with Location 3's Business Development Manager, Julie Whitney. Julie, tell us more about the project.
Yeah, thanks, Genevieve. So while COVID-19 has brought about many challenges, we've talked to some brands that have really doubled down on their digital marketing and they've seen great results. As we all know, COVID-19 hit us like a ton of bricks last year. And so we thought it would be really helpful to connect with some franchise marketing folks and kind of get their perspective on what they did last year and what they're going to be doing moving forward in 2021. I had the privilege of speaking with a number of folks, including Colleen Sisk, who is the Vice President of Operations and Development with Paisanos Pizza. Kelly Watts, she is a franchise owner of 4 Wild Birds Unlimited locations. And I spoke with a couple other franchise marketing executives as well.
So what did their digital marketing efforts look like pre-pandemic?
Paisanos Pizza specifically, she said they did some digital and some paid social. And actually up until 2019, a lot of what they did was direct mail, which worked really, really well for their brand with Wild Birds Unlimited. You know, in the early stages of digital marketing, she said they did some Google AdWords and they did a little bit of social media, but that didn't really get ramped up until the pandemic hit.
And what changes did they make during the pandemic?
So what I thought was unique about Wild Birds Unlimited is she said they had started to ramp up social media right around the time that the pandemic hit. They started a presence on Instagram, and really the key here was they laid that groundwork early enough so that when the pandemic hit, they were ready to go. It was a natural progression. They started Facebook Live videos because, of course, they couldn't hold any kind of in-store events. And with Paisanos Pizza, you know, she said we went full throttle in March. You know, it was critical for that messaging to be related to COVID. So they wanted to make sure that they craft specific messaging to make sure that their consumers were comfortable. Messaging like, we are open, here are the precautions that we are taking, we are safe. And one thing that I thought Paisanos did really well is they took a proactive approach to the operational needs of the pandemic-driven choices. You know, this included contactless and curbside pickup, temper-resistant seals to their packaging. Their protocols were to sanitize the restaurant every 30 minutes. And then they required their delivery drivers to wipe down the internal and external touch points before and after each delivery. And their diligence really resulted in a stronger team, and they actually did not have to lay off any employees during the pandemic.
Wow, that's quite a feat.
Yeah, it really is.
And what other benefits are they seeing from their efforts?
Well, with Wild Birds Unlimited specifically, they actually had a record year in all 4 stores in 2020, which is amazing, especially in the midst of a pandemic. And that's considering that all of their locations were closed for a certain amount of time. When I asked her, what do you attribute the success to? She said they relied on curbside pickup and online orders. You know, people were looking for an outlet to enjoy themselves. Let's face it, we're all home. We get a little bit stir crazy. You know, we're within the 4 walls of our home. And she said she found that so many of their new customers were looking for something to do. They were home. They were able to enjoy their surroundings and kind of pay attention to what was going outside, to noticing nature and birds and those types of things. And what was interesting too is she said their hobby is now skewing a younger demographic. With Paisanos Pizza, they had positive year-over-year sales trends in many of their locations. And not only were they thrilled that their sales increased year over year, this was done during a national pandemic. And she said that this is attributed to the increase in curbside pickup. And she said they actually had a situation where they had so many people going by one of their locations for curbside pickup that they had actually a police officer had to be on property to help direct traffic because there were so many people lined up around the business. So that's definitely a good problem to have.
Definitely. What advice was shared for corporate level marketing teams?
One thing that Paisanos Pizza shared, she said, if you are not ahead of the thinking and the technology, you're behind, which I think is really true today. She encouraged folks to stay ahead of marketing trends by spending time each week brainstorming. And benchmarking is really important too. With Wild Birds Unlimited, she mentioned be quick on the trigger and be very flexible. And as we've all learned this past year, you have to learn to roll with the punches. She said as business owners, they face a lot of challenges. They're losing employees. Some of their employees are getting sick, getting COVID, customers refusing to wear a mask. And her lesson overall is just be really flexible. And the last piece of advice that I think is important too, especially from a digital perspective, is as we move forward, make sure whatever you are doing with your digital marketing efforts can be measurable. One particular franchise marketing executive said, as a marketing team executive, you've got to find a way to make sure what is being reported is in line with the company's goals. And you want to show that the marketing team's efforts are contributing to the company's growth. So that when it comes to a digital campaign, you want to make sure that those results are measurable.
Definitely speaks to the power of digital, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Take advantage of technology and get up with the times. You are definitely leaving money on the table if you are not taking advantage of social media and marketing platforms. Customers want to hear from you, so they want your advice, they want your engagement. So make sure that you are reaching them through the right digital platforms.
Well, thank you so much, Julie, for joining us today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And thanks to the industry leaders at Paisano's Pizza and Wild Birds Unlimited.